Good evening, Iman Blak.
Good evening.
This is Pauline from St. Mary. Calling to big you up on your program. I am a disciple. I've been there since almost the inception.
Guide I. It's the voice that sets me free.
I just you me a tune into because, you know, me always even watch some other television and stuff and that I have to see for later. I have to really listen to you first, you know what I mean?
How ma one God you get one ma chikum bakhna Africa da fa bakhna kidapanya kidaparafet one ma chiki bunjul kidaparunjul one yande kesawai kidaparunjul one ma chiki bunjul kidaparunjul dafnen rafet yo mentamenda ingama dafnen rafet yo mentamenda ingara dafnen rafet yo mentamenda ingara. Did you know that's a richer Africa? Did you know that's a richer Africa? Did you know? Said the whole world love it. Did you know? Said the whole world love it. Be proud of your culture. Be proud of that what you got. Be proud.
Jambo, vipi, karibuni katika kipindi cha Doc Iman Blak. Kipindi chaitwa Metamorphosis. Jifundishe, elimika na mwelimike.
What men want and what they will, working for a dollar bill. Sad to see the old slave mill, grinding slow but grinding still. Walking home, a youth gets killed, police free to shoot at will. Sad to see the old slave mill, grinding slow but grinding still. 9 to 5, you know the drill, weekends are a short-lived thrill. Sad to see the old slave mill, it's grinding slow but grinding still. Cover on it over till it spill, take until they've had their fill. Sure hurts to see the old slave mill, grinding slow but grinding still. All praise on the Most High, His last year. Sure, Rastafari, abolish slavery right now. Pharaoh let my children go. Hey. Africa prepare, cause I'm coming home. Black man prepare, cause we going home. Africa prepare, I and I coming home. People prepare, cause we are going home. The joy you bring you, my song I sing you, the fire within you, the struggle continue. Let us begin you. We got to win you, prosecute and trim you, still praise the king you. Got to be bold and brave, they call you. Settle us, they call you. Free slave, now look at you. With the length of days, give praise. Fire off the blaze. Africa prepare, cause I'm coming home. Black man prepare, cause we going home. Africa prepare, I and I coming home. People prepare, cause we are going home. No equal rights, not justice, no schools, no jobs, the more they use the focus. They do some farming, me get up, me blow, me progress. Babylon can't touch this. Look to the east for the crowning of the king. That's the way you are should go. Best most I ever live in God a place. And I'm living in a vice flow. Africa prepare, cause I'm coming home. Black man prepare, cause we going home. Africa prepare, I and I coming home. People prepare, cause we are going home. They spread their propagandas because they want to start a thing. And the backstabbers, they slander and they chat all sort of thing. No, I'm the light of the world. What a thing. Bundum Rome, Bundum Babylon, they can't stop fighting. They always fight for us. Them not go make me frost. I come to lead the mass. All them a chat, a redemption I want. Bubbles and teeth, the repatriation. Let's tell them a redemption I want.
prepare, cause I'm coming home. People prepare, cause we are going home. Africa prepare, I and I coming home. People prepare, cause we are going. Yeah man, and Emperor Selassie I am wearing the ancient of days never quail. Rastafari love me veil. Yeah man, and Emperor Selassie I am wearing the ancient of days never quail. Rastafari love me veil. Can't cool, can't quench, everlasting burning fire. Babylon your range, can't cool, can't quench, everlasting burning fire. Read that judgment, I tell you. Can't cool, can't quench, everlasting burning fire. Babylon get drenched, can't cool, can't quench. Ethiopia, mature desire. Babylon, then how is it you get your food to eat and yet you find it hard to feed another youth that come up at your feet? Then how is it you always a strive and yet you find it hard to show another get so you tough to survive? That's why your King Selassie I will praise. Run the tell Pharaoh, him city that God bless. Me know a king or a suffer right upon the throne. Babylon, we the dash brimstone. The one your name can't cool, can't quench, everlasting burning fire. Babylon your rank, can't cool, can't quench. Africa my true desire. Black parents, can't cool, can't quench, everlasting burning fire. Babylon your rank, can't cool, can't quench. Africa my true desire. Read that judgment. Bigger to you some put them in a the pit. Them judge and them jury just green and a grit and all them police and them soldiers said them ready and fit. The sniper the Blak say him not shoot and miss the Black Christ kingdom. Stand for equal rights and justice. A true human rights. Well a government none is. Rastafari did no say PJ or the false and hypocrite and them a go bring Bruce Golding fi make a big devil switch. Well Rasta drop Siaga in the bottomless pit. Now follow the evil mama gun you spank you real quick. Well that's another fire. Pans and public me telling them see some no war and wickedness. In a fornication in them gun finger them go deep. And not about them a vote all that wine them a sit me say red gold and green in every district. And Ethiopia be the witness this a one your name. Can't cool, can't quench, everlasting burning fire. Babylon your rent, can't cool, can't quench, everlasting burning fire. Read that judgment I tell you. Can't cool, can't quench, everlasting burning fire. Babylon get drenched, can't cool, can't quench.
Away from Africa with the intention to steal our culture. That's good for the past by instead. Humble yourself, my children. Humble yourself, my little ones. Humble yourself. Oh, my brother,
There is one earth. There is one planet. Is there one world? There is one earth. There is one planet. Is there one world? Metamorphosis.
Took us away from civilization, brought us to slave in this big plantation, fussing and fighting among ourselves, nothing to achieve this way. It's worse than hell, I say. Get up and fight for your rights, brother. Get up and fight for your rights, sister. Get up and fight for your rights, brother. Get up and fight for your rights, sister.
Dynasty Lynn. Really high. Greetings. Greetings. World movements. Question at the original point of entrance. We are living on one earth. This is one planet. But do we live in one world? And the world is what we need to investigate, the concept of the world. Because presently, in Singapore, the world is watching. The world is on an edge, watching. But in Russia, the world is also watching. Another summit. A summit in the world of football. And we're seeing in Singapore a summit in the world of politics and economics and military. So the question has foundation. And so as African people, we have to begin to qualify when we talk about world. What exactly is I and I speaking about? Because we have been programmed with a conceptual idea of the end of the world. And then we have also been infected with an idea of world without end. Which world? So we want to sort it out during this metamorphosis as we examine the World Cup on the horizon, beginning in 3 days, a war of the world. But that is the world of sport. And I'm saying that this is a world unto itself, with its own laws and rules and regulations. So we're going to examine that within this metamorphosis, so I and I can make my own more qualified statements towards this world war that is on the horizon. But in the world of politics, there is also a summit taking place in Singapore, which will have great implications for the world. So which world I and I must be concerned about? And which world is the Muslim world? And which world is the Christian world? Are all these worlds on planet Earth? Metamorphosis exploring.
Shall not chant down Babylon, chant down Babylon, chant down Babylon, chant down Babylon. Give thanks and praise, give thanks and praise, give thanks and praise, give thanks and praise to the whole of man of creation.
Yeah, giving thanks and praise for the opportunity to express free thought. It is indeed a privilege. So always ailing up Styles FM and their forces to keep this powerful station going and give I a voice in the wilderness. So I'm going to think about world. I want to talk a little bit about the concept of the world. And how is it as African people, black people in the Western Hemisphere, how do we handle the concept of the world? Because of the events taking place, people have their interpretations of the world in which we live and determining outcome and going into future. Some almost predicting the world and the state of the world and using all sorts of textual references. But before we get too bogged down in the teachings of what we have received or received wisdom about the world, I'm going to suggest that we begin to examine it on our own. And there's a couple of things I want to touch on before this program is out. One of them is emerging from a connection on Saturday mornings with my colleague, Colin Anthony, and he has a program called Smooth Sailing. So at 5 minutes or so after 10 o'clock, he engages I and I as the metamorphosis. We have a small conversation about certain issues. Well, I'm another little reason first program about self-reliance, because he raised it up and I started to speak about it and find that it needed a little bit more expansion. Because it's one thing to talk about self-reliance and independence and all of these ideological frames, but the foundation is knowledge. And so I want to also share a little bit about what I and I views are and research has shown as to what it is to be self-reliant. How do we arrive at self-reliance if there is no self-awareness? And what are the stages of development for the self itself? To move from awareness to esteem is a progression. So I want to speak about it a little bit more before we can talk about being self-reliant. Because self-reliance is a psychological state first. And then you talk about economic interdependency. Because there's no independent economics framework. Everything is interconnected. But you have to have your independent thinking, which is where your self-reliance manifests itself. So I want to speak about that as we go through a little later. So I want them to listen to that program on Saturday mornings. Yes, a very nice program, nice segments and things to go with it. So, the concept of the world now. I find from our earliest educational information, we hear it say the world have a beginning and the world have an end. And most people sort of don't even bother grapple with that. Because there is a kind of common sense perception that you're supposed to have inside your being that everything have a beginning. So there's a kind of, non-questioned way of looking at it. So, well, why even bother question that? The world has to have a beginning. All right. But here we are today. I will still speak about the concept of world. But it looks as if we have different types of worlds. Because I asked again earlier, is it that we're living on several different planets at the same time? Or are we all on the same planet? Which would make it one planet and one Earth. How then do we have all these various worlds? And what then is a world? But before we even get into this now, I want to speak a little bit of what is happening at a distant planet, a different world. Now, when I was a youth, the cartoons and the comic books, them always talk about Mars and Martians. And them always used to put it in the media, say Martians were some little green men. You hear that, Cassidy? You grew up with them argument, right? Right. So I always hear about Martians, but always some little green man. You know, I used to wonder why it wasn't some little black man, you know. Why them never give you the imagery of Martians as some little black man? Because that changed the attitude of black man upon the earth, you know. Yeah, if I and I really know, say, I and I used to live upon Mars. But hear this now. So the cartoons and the comic strip on Hollywood and Orson Welles and all these writers control the narrative. They're putting out the literature, them writing the books. So they eventually begin to be the ones who inform I and I know about things like Mars. Because I remember now, you know, them now have us thinking beyond the next day, you know. Yes. This now is taking the brain now off of the planet and looking into the galaxies and the solar system. It's leisure time. You get to do that. So we are saying look into it now. We have the opportunity to explore beyond this planet. So long time now the Europeans intrigued about Mars. Because the Africans have a lot of cultural spaces that speak about their connection with Mars. Even as far as in the southern areas of Africa, the Badoma people speak about their relationship to the planet Mars. The Dogon of West Africa speak about their connection to the star Sirius. So I want to let them know that African people have connections to planets long time, you know. Ancient planets and civilizations. Don't get trapped by the 6,000-year-old storyboard coming out of a garden. Watch it. So we're going to look at Mars, because Mars is a tangible place. One can't tell me say no dead. So that planet now has occupied the imagination of the Europeans for the longest time, because him go Africa, him go through Egypt and him go through West Africa and South Africa, and I see we have our records of these places. So it's a long time him want to know how it's set up and what go on. Him reach a point now where him can send vessels and vehicles to Mars. The technology what him find himself with now allow him now to send vessels to circle Mars, stay in Mars orbit, and then find themselves able to land vehicles on the planet itself now. You can a man can't tell me say no happening, no. But that's all right. We're talking about scientific activities now. And other nations of the earth are collaborating with these efforts. So them have a couple of rovers, like some little truck. It's like a video game the man play from Earth. And them drive this little rover around on this planet called Mars. And them explore and examine and drill and check for chemical makeup and all the various things that them think are ingredients for life as we know it on Earth. Now, it's a long time them man now exploring for life outside of the planet Earth. And them know why them spending all of the resource on it. Something them know, but look like black people don't know. Look like we're afraid for even know. Because we don't want to know of other planets and the possibility of life on other places, because that we mash up the God story. That we mash up the creation story of man being the only thing in the universe and blah, 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 blah. So what is happening now on Mars? Because we soon come to Earth, you know. The vehicle that them have on the Mars now, I've been there for maybe about 10 years. Yeah. I drive up and down and sometimes I shut it down for a couple of months and the thing moving around and it drilling into the planet now and testing the thing. You know what the man them eventually come up with now? This is the most recent findings. That they have found what they call microbes. And these are now the absolute foundation building blocks for life on Earth. So you know what that is suggesting? That at some distant point in time, it is possible that the planet Mars had life form like the planet Earth. So that would have been a world unto itself. How many worlds are there on Earth? Metamorphosis.
Great news, everyone! DIB Block Factory and Hardware Supply is located at 44 William Street, Port Antonio. Now open every Sunday from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. Stop in and beat the Monday crowd. Get the same great service on a more convenient day. Doing some work on a Sunday, run out of material? No need to worry. DIB Hardware will be there to serve you. Still the #1 supplier in Portland of building materials, hardware supplies, kitchen and bathroom finishes. DIB Hardware Port Antonio. Now open this and every Sunday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 44 William Street, Port Antonio. See you there.
Planning a party, club night out, stage show, a gospel concert, or even a business sales event? Let Styles FM be a part of your promoting tool. Take advantage of our low-priced promotion packages with commercials, interviews, giveaways, reviews, and much more. We have special offers when you mix and match and bundle your options. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Styles FM for the most effective way to exploit your marketing dollar.
This feeling is taking over me. I'm so excited.
Feel the euphoria.
Tuesdays from 5 to 9 p.m. with the Master Mixer Musical Maestro Digital Team.
Giving a total satisfaction with melodies and memories by the score. With the widest selection of genres and hits. So you don't know that program you turn up, you know. So you know Patek's a full dance, the one you slap with.
Digital and we are party. Yeah, we flawless. Euphoria the program. Every Tuesday.
5 to 9. Every Tuesday.
With the Musical Maestro Digital Team.
We're there. All about Ram. My God.
Yes, that's right. The bus Ram. Because we're all headed to Fan Fusion. But now while tickets are available, St. Thomas peeps, we have transportation for you. The bus leaves from Morant Bay to Portland. It's only $2,000 inclusive of tickets per person. Pick up your phone and call 356-7491. Let me repeat, 356-7491. Mommy, you never catch it? Let me repeat the third time. 356-7491 to book now. Call between 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. or you can book at Munch's Snack Shop at Duckenfield Primary School Gate. Nobody will be left behind. Fan Fusion, here we come.
Clifford Guest House, sponsor of Metamorphosis on Monday nights from 9 p.m. to 12 midnight with Dr. Iman Blak. Located at 15 Queen Street, Port Antonio, that's Titchfield Hill, they offer accommodations for up to 1 month. Call them at 285-0610 for more information.
Journey, I say.
There are many people who think that the rainbow is a covenant between God and the people. And this covenant was established at the time when God wiped out the world and left Noah and his 7 people and animals and so forth. Other persons are stuck in that conception of the rainbow. And the rainbow is all about light and water. It's a prism. Now, again, I want to add them to lift up them thought power off the planet Earth. Because we have that capacity to think about anything and anywhere in the cosmos. So I want to just engage a little bit now with planet Mars. Because there are other planets, you know. We are in a system of planets. And the central controlling body of these planets is the sun. Everything, these planets revolve around the sun. So the sun is a star. So Mars now is a very interesting place. And as I say, a long time the Europeans know, because they know about I and they know about the history of the Earth and the history of the solar systems and the history of the cosmos, far more than what any black man could even think about. All these things are in libraries and things and books and things where the man and hide and burn and thief and just making it difficult for I and I to recover and reclaim full identity. So if we look at Mars, you know, a couple of years ago, because they have, well, on the planet now, they have a rover, and the rover is called Curiosity. And it has been doing a lot of curious work. You know, the same man who tell you about Curiosity kill the cat. For them, a rover named Curiosity. Because that curiosity is all about finding out things and coming to knowledge and dispelling beliefs. So this rover now has been there for a couple of years. And so the people at NASA, them bust the news now that Curiosity discover organic molecules in certain rock layers that were drilled by the rover. Organic molecules now. These rock layers now, according to the scientific way of analyzing, go back over 4 billion years. At a time when Mars was supposed to be much more fertile and friendlier and a better place for what we call life as we know it. Today, now, Mars is a hostile and harsh place where life on Earth could not survive there. But apparently the theory is that perhaps once in a very long, billion years ago, there was life on Mars. Now, enough black people, enough African people, enough people who caught up in Bible history don't allow them brain to think in these dimensions, because these stars don't fit into the book. But those who control the world through science and technology and military power are highly conscious of these things. And so they all strip the earth resources to get to know about these places and these events and to try to connect the dots to know where really black people come from. Guys, we come from those places. We are the first colonizers of the planet, but we can't realize it. The technology that it required, we feel like is something that is way beyond and superior to I and I. So the findings now is important because it changes the whole concept now of the world. So this world that we're living in now, this earth, this planet Earth now, we have to begin to re-examine its old genesis and how long it has been in this format. And can it possibly reach a stage where it looks like Mars? And it's not necessarily impossible if the behavior now of the human beings continue in that same vein. But does that mean that the world will come to an end? So in other words, when we're talking about world coming to an end, we see that the planet really don't come to an end. The planet will stay in its revolution. The planet will stay around the sun as long as the sun remains at the centerpiece and keeps moving. What you see is that life on the surface can come to a close. That is very obvious. And within all the earth that we are living on is set up, it will not happen by itself. It will require an agent to bring this thing to a close. Because the fish of the sea have no intentions to destroy themselves. And I would say the same thing for the animals and the plants. So when I'm going to tell you about the world that got done, we have to begin to clarify which world I'm talking about now. Which world I'm talking about that going done and going to start again. So we're examining now the concept of world as we apply now to earth. And we're going to realize this concept of world, you know, it's very, very, very vast and broad, you know, because you may even find, say, at the long run, each individual actually living in their own world, you know. When we begin to examine what the concept of world is about. But we won't do it that way. When I look at the whole concept now of the world of politics and the world of sport, and I want to establish that the world of sport is a world unto itself, with its own laws and governance. And we're going to see not just the world of sport now, FIFA's world. There is a world called FIFA's world. And there's a government called FIFA. And them have a world. And for them world now reach the climax in another 3 days when the World Cup kick off. And 2 days before that now, another world now coming together now between Trump and Kim Jong-un. And the world watching that to see how those two guys are going to determine how the world going to operate at a certain level of economics and politics and military. So I can speak about the military world. Again, with its own laws and jurisdictions and punishments, etc., etc. There's the world of sport. So how is it now one can tell I that with all conviction that the world will end and the world will start again? Which world? Do they speak about God's world? So is God's world different from the world of sport and the world of the military? Do we have any respect for the world of the insects? The concept of world, that a man can frighten man to tell you that the world will end and it soon end. And you have to do this, and you have to do that, and you have to do that, because it's soon done. World without end. World without beginning. Concept, idea, time. Metamorphosis.
Ooh, yeah, 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 yeah.
So much things to say right now. They got so much things to say.
Hey, but I'll never forget no way they crucified Jesus Christ. I'll never forget no way they sold Marcus Garvey for rights. Ooh, I'll never forget no way they turned their backs on Paul Bogle. Hey, hey, so don't you forget who you are and where you stand in the struggle. They got so very, 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 so very. They say in everything, they say so much today. They got so much things to say, so much things to say. Not come to fight flesh and blood, but spiritual wickedness in high and low places. So while they fight you down, stand firm and give thanks and praises. Cause I know expect to be justified.
heap of talk, whole heap of things, them have to tell us from them times that at this time. It's time now we begin to exercise some self-reliance in our thinking. Yes, self-reliant thinking. We're not depending on others to define if what you're saying is so, it go or not, as long as you can hold the reasoning in a logical and a historical framework. We can have our ground for our reasoning. So, we'll talk a little bit more about Mars. Yeah, they call it a red planet. And with green men. Yeah, don't want to mention nothing black about it. But guess what happened? 3, 4 years ago, one of the vessels that them have circling Mars. Because guess what happened? It's not just the Americans have an interest in Mars now. The Indians are there too. They have their own vessel going around Mars to gathering information, you know. So it's an international effort from the European and the Indians and the Chinese, those who have the technology. They must circle Mars. And they took a photograph of what they saw on the surface. And one of the images reflected a giant ankh. A-N-K-H. A giant ankh. You know, the ankh is a lifeblood and the key symbol in Egyptian culture, you know. Some of you know how the ankh reached from Mars. I don't know what the Egyptians were doing on Mars or what the Martians were doing in Egypt. There's a whole heap of things we have to do to reconnect ourselves and bust out of the chains that keep us terrestrial. We have to recognize that we are galactical beings and ancient. So the Europeans are spending a vast amount of resources trying to know where certain things come from because they know that I and I have been there. It's only I and I don't know, you know. It's only the people, black people, African people, disconnected from that ancient history because it goes into times, millions and billions of years. And the Christian, Western, black man can't go beyond 6,000, 10,000. It kind of run out because the flood come drown out enough people and the garden story was just 2,000 years before that. And so time become locked up in a little time zone, become prisoners of a time warp. But the planets are there. And so there is a world of Mars under heavy investigation because of the culture and the history and the link between those places and the earth. And the link between those places and the culture of African people. The Vadoma people of South Africa, their mythology speaks to their descendants coming from Mars. Their ancestors. So, when we talk about Earth and the world now, if we break it up in a little bit more specific way, which world we are talking about? Because obviously it's only one planet. In the same way, Mars represents one planet. You can't tell me that Mars is several worlds. It's one planet. So any concept of several worlds have to engage some beings, some people, some life forms have to be on that planet to begin to talk about worlds. So we can talk about the world of insects. It's a world of insects. A whole set of activities in that dimension of existence. And that world relative to the world of people pre-exists, that of man. Birds. So, sea life. We can see the concept of world within life forms. And how they organize and how they organize themselves and how they maintain their own existence. So when we get into teaching now into this hemisphere of Rome, and they begin to teach us about the world, and in the beginning was the world, and the world at a beginning and the world at an end. I've broke out of that kind of interpretation. Because the world that they speak of is not the real world. Because the real world really based upon the earth. So any other construction now is something that is man-made. And so here when we talk about the world now, we begin to talk about the world of men. governments, church orders, the world of men, and their worlds will always crumble if it's not based upon righteous and truthful and consciousness. So when people looking around now, and we talk about the world, there is the world of sports. Yeah, and there's the world of the military. So, I just want to say that we need to release ourselves from this fear of the end of the world. And recognize it's not the planet coming to an end, but there have to be a system of governance. And the system of the governance is not something that is necessarily global. It must be localized. And it is people that will change systems. So we're talking about politics and military force and economic power and self-reliance amongst our people to arrive at that state. Now, can't talk about the World Cup without speaking about the draw that is on the horizon, the draw for the 2026 tournament. That draw will take place tomorrow or Wednesday. And the draw pits North America versus Africa, where Morocco is challenging North America. North America is a combination now of Mexico, the United States, and Canada. And the challenge, or rather the bait that North America is offering, is that FIFA will achieve its greatest financial reward ever. And the politics has become exposed because for the first time, the president of a country has sought to interfere with the selection process. And I'm talking about now the President of the United States, Donald Trump. And the Trump is in a position where he now is really beginning to influence the world. See, you know, another world now. And this world now is a world of economics and politics and military powers. This world. And what we see happening now is that Trump is also trying to influence the world of football, FIFA's world. And both of the worlds are supposed to be independent of each other. Because FIFA declares its world to be a world that is autonomous. It governs itself, it has its own laws, it has its own court system, and it cannot be investigated by nobody but itself. And what we find now is that Trump, from his position of power in the political world and economic world, is beginning to interfere with FIFA. Because he has subtly suggested to the other African countries that it's better than back up America for the vote than back up Morocco. In other words, I'm going to tell them now, so don't bother get racial. Don't bother get racially conscious and unite because it's all African brothers. Don't watch that. I am giving you aid. And I support your planes and yet so forth. So FIFA now is for the first time now being challenged by a political force outside of its normal way of doing business. And we'll find that I will speak about this president a bit now because he's proving himself to be a very, very original and authentic force of divisiveness. Really. And he's using the world of sports as a political pawn because it is in this world now that a lot of black people find themselves and energy tied up. So in the United States, the President of America, who has been recognized as an outright racist and other things, he has played a heavy political game and he has decided to pardon Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson is a great black heavyweight title first heavyweight champion title black man who was imprisoned under false pretense. And, you know, them kind of way there. And Trump now, in his divisive construction of his way of making America great again, him decided to pardon him. And he took it on recommendation from another celebrity, Sylvester Stallone. I will see where a celebrity female now, Kardashian, also got Trump to pardon some woman who was on some drug charge from 20 years ago. So it is showing clearly that if you're a celebrity, white man celebrity, white woman celebrity, you can get Trump ears. And Trump has now played into the politics and has decided to offer a pardon to anybody who the black players in the NFL recommend. This is deep psychology now, you know. Because previously, the law was passed that if you don't attend the anthem and stand, you will be penalized. In other words, now I want them to see what's happening in the world of sport and politics and race. And how the transformation is, how we're being affected by the decisions now coming almost out of the White House. So, we see the interference with Trump trying to insist that African countries vote for his country to be the host. I would say where it's a good thing that the United States is absent from the World Cup in Russia. Because I don't think we could have taken Trump in Russia. But what we see is that Trump has found another platform to demonstrate himself. And we have to pay attention again, because the great summit that the world has been promised is on the horizon. The meeting between King Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump, it is set for Singapore. This is just before the opening of the World Cup. So we'll see worlds coming close to each other. And these worlds are not identical. The world of politics and economics and military might. And in the first instance, the summit, one better be prepared to know, say, Trump is a man who will leave before the conference done, you know. Because he has proven to be consistent in being divisive. And that is one of the things I and I need to be observant about. He's a very consistent person, but in his divisiveness. So he was coming from a meeting with the G7 nations. And before him reach, him trust monkey spanner in it. Him say more Russia come in. And before him reach back out, him withdraw the communique that they all agreed on. So he thrives on disarray. The same effect from the climate change agreement, etc. So I asked to them now, with the world being moved in this direction by Trump, America is achieving the agenda set by the president. Is making America great again. And America is moving from a superpower to a country that is now great. And in that decline, isolationism has become the policy. And so America is quietly and slowly and for surely isolating itself. It has isolated itself from the European Union. It has now isolated itself from Canada. It's isolated itself from Mexico. So the only ally we're seeing the United States having now is South Korea. And South Korea has formed a strong alliance with the North. And the North Koreans have united with the Russians and the Chinese and the Iranians. So there's a reshuffling of the pack with the Americans being isolated. So we're seeing that world power that we have been seeing for the last 200 years is in its dying days. it is becoming isolated. It is becoming more divisive internally based upon racism. And the President of America now has established himself now as an antagonist to black professional sportsmen. He has proven that. He has decided to, what he calls, disinvite the champions of the NBA. So between the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers, none of those players will go to the White House. And that is Trump's spitefulness, because these players rejected him from the beginning. Black people, pay attention. We will come forward. We're going to go into the World Cup.
Planning a party, club night out, stage show, a gospel concert, or even a business sales event? Let Styles FM be a part of your promoting tool. Take advantage of our low-priced promotion packages with commercials, interviews, giveaways, reviews, and much more. We have special offers when you mix and match and bundle your options. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Styles FM for the most effective way to exploit your marketing dollar.
The best event of the summer is back. Styles FM Fan Fusion Party, Episode 5, Tipsy Island. Saturday, July 7th, 2018 at Bayview Waterfront Property, Oysters Bay, Port Antonio, Jamaica. Come hear Styles FM finest DJs juggling retro hits. Retro Gunya style from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. Admission $500 pre-sold, $800 at the gate. VIP $2,500. Party starts at 7 p.m. sharp. Listen to Styles FM for ticket outlets or call 876-518-2399. Fan Fusion Party, Tipsy Island. Dress tropically elegant. Fan Fusion is not just a party, it's an experience.
Must be 18 years and older to enter. ID required. Drink responsibly.
This is Ricardo Suave, inviting you to tune into Smoothic, the show for the ladies, with DJ Prestige, from 9 to midnight every Tuesday on Styles 96.1 FM, Portland's best.
I've been watching you. Are you sick of living an average life and tired of just getting by? Do you want to take your life to the next level? Learn the secrets of the super successful. Listen to Power in a Half Hour with Coach Mark this and every Wednesday night on Styles FM from 9 to 10 p.m. Learn the habits of the super successful and how to make these habits work for you. Learn to turn your dreams and desires into reality. You can win in the game of life. Let Coach Mark show you how. Every Wednesday night on Styles FM from 9 to 10 p.m.
Clifford Guest House, sponsor of Metamorphosis on Monday nights from 9 p.m. to 12 midnight with Dr. Iman Blak. Located at 15 Queen Street, Port Antonio, that's Titchfield Hill. They offer accommodations for up to 1 month. Call them at 285-0610 for more information.
Everything is so
reporting some very tricky times, and I just want to try to give the item an option to think it out for themselves. So here this piece of drama unfolding now. The President of America has been in office for less than 2 years, and the world has undergone a whole heap of upheavals. There was once a G7, there was once a G8, which is the industrialized nations, and then there was a eruption when Russia decided to take over Crimea, so them kicked them out of it, and it became a seven-nation movement, G7. I was saying now where they're going to meet for the first time with Trump, and Trump said, boy, it must be G8 again, because they must let back Russia into the club. So Trump and Russia have an alliance, and that's why he's under suspicion for being elected with support of the Russians. Trump is a Russian plant. That is just my own thesis. This is Russia's way of pulling up America, because America pulled up Russia, right? The empire strikes back. And you have to have somebody in the office to administrate these type of these things. And it's not Trump. Trump is the agent, because you have people putting in $300 million in the campaign and directing policies with Israel and all kind of things. So don't let us not be distracted simply by this man. But him is a mouthpiece, and he's a good mouthpiece for the agenda. The agenda is to make America great again. And so the divisiveness of race must become highlighted to get that greatness. Greatness mean white, you know. Don't think greatness mean power around the whole globe and influence. No. When you have that global influence now, you're talking about super. And it's evident that the superness is dissipating. Very, very obvious that the super of America is dissipating, because Trump is moving it from super to great. And in the condition of great now, you have to highlight racial differences and fear and bring America to the stage where it was in the 1860s, where lynch mob ruled the place. This time it's more organized because they have uniforms. No, I say that to say, you know, to show you all the thing sticky. Prior to Trump, you know, the president was said to be a black man, and the first black man in the White House, and all of these type of things, and so on and so forth. And that president had 2 terms. And within those 2 terms, the people in Jamaica, Rastaman in particular, and the Afrocentric-minded people, have all been agitating for Marcus Garvey to be pardoned, not just in America, but in Jamaica first. Because the argument was that Marcus should be pardoned by the United States government for the same set-up business with them, set him up so that they could deport him, right? Everything became evident in the records later on, the whole J. Edgar Hoover activities and the whole strategy to get Garvey out of America. After serving him time, first thing to do was instant deportation. So we understand that policy and effort that reached Garvey from that time. Now, the protest to pardon Garvey has been kind of lukewarm in Jamaica, and it has been growing. I think just where the parliament decided to pardon the hero them who were classified as hero, and, you know, whatever. But here what happened now? During the 8 years of Obama, the agitation was that the American president should be in a position of actually glee to pardon Marcus Garvey. And a lot of people at the end of the 8 years, were very disappointed with Obama and the administration, because them say, see, black man going to the thing and no, Garvey don't get no pardon. Well, here comes Donald Trump now, the well-known racist and misogynist and groper and all of these things. And Trump used him executive powers now, first in pardon black man Jack Johnson. And here we have now, I said it last week, you know. I said it last week. And yesterday, when going through the various medias, there's a media house called Atlanta Black Star, and they are running a story that the Republican strategist, a brother named Roger Stone, he is now urging Trump to pardon Marcus Garvey. I show you how the man we can get mixed up, you know. Now, Trump, from my point of view, we're going to jump on this. Because this is high politics of race. That imagine now, this could possibly now be the final stabbing what him call Obama's legacy, because part of his agenda was to remove anything organized and positive that Obama had come with it within his administration. So it's very, very ironic now and going to be very disruptive. I am sure amongst black people that some going to start praise Trump. Yeah, some going to start praise Trump. And some going to begin to condemn Obama even further. And so we have to check ourselves. As the song was telling us, caution, the road is wet. Yes, the metamorphosis is here. This is Dr. Iman Blak. I don't know if I'll introduce myself still, but it is Iman, the host, and hailing all ones and ones who are locked into the program, whether you're on land or on sea or whether you're in space. Because we're making connections in all the dimensions and all the regions. So again, you know, give thanks again for the situation here at Styles FM and the engineer who know how to make the thing just fall into the right rhythm. Yeah, so I was just saying a little bit of things before. I have to say these things before we get into the football. You know, I have to say these things because these things for me are more pressing than the entertainment and the drama that is going to unfold on the world in the next couple of days, 2 or 3 days. Because it will come to a close 4 weeks later. And once it comes to a close, I have to deal with what is. And what is what is right now. And what is now is that the world is undergoing tectonic changes, realignments, and islands and groups, even within the climatic situation. We see where the volcano in Hawaii, Kilauea, has moved up vast amount of neighborhoods and building new lands out into the ocean as the lava settle out there. All kind of devastation taking place there. See what's happening in Dominica. Entire villages being wiped away by volcanic movements. So the earth is undergoing its own eruption, you know. As the surface undergoes its own behavior, the earth is responding. But there's no end to the earth. The earth knows how to purge itself. The earth have elements, fire, water, air. And when those things come within the forces that they can carry themselves, enough things dig up. Yeah, when the air becomes violent, we call it hurricane and typhoon and cyclone and all those things combined with the water. So earth knows how to angle itself. It's the beings on the surface go on as though now them super. And projecting themselves as being in a position where them can dominate the earth. Yeah, foo-foo literature about have dominion over all things. Is a man right that? He thinks that God right? He thinks God have a voice? Is men right those things? And the outcome of these dominions is the destruction of the earth. The fish them quite contented, you know. And when you check the animals, some of them have to be put on reservations because of the behavior of human beings. Wiping them out and hanging up them head in them house and calling them things trophies. Right? The barbarity. Some of the animals now reacting when these people come into the what they call the reservations. Yeah, man. They want to say alligator and go on like them want to play with them. Alligator start take them away now. So the problem on the earth coming to any form of, you know, traumatic closure is the behavior of men. It's the behavior of men. So nothing will come in a divine intervention to upstage what men is doing. Men will do what they do, and the earth will respond. There was a time when the Europeans didn't know about the ozone layer. They didn't know that layer of oxygen was what holding out the violent levels of radiation. Never know that. It was there, scientifically established as a protective region. And they wouldn't done until them bore it up. Them stay all the way from the planet's surface and bore up the ozone layer. That is the height of destructiveness. And in boring up the ozone layer now, it causes excessive radiation now to reach the surface. So we now get caught up in no fear about nobody will come to the sky, come save nobody now, you know. And those people will be saved from the world and the world will start over again. Them things are fairy tale. Those are fables. The world is as it is. And it's men and people defining the conditions of the earth for other people to live in. So I want to just segue a little bit now from Trump and his behavior and the world that is realigning itself, how do black people respond to these realignments on the international chessboard? How do Africans relate and respond to that? How about the Africans in America? How do the Africans in the Caribbean, black people in the Caribbean respond now? Because these tariffs that are creating this war in the world of economics are going to have some serious side effects on those of us who live our life as consumers. So we spend all our life as a consumer, as a black man. Now the time comes where we can't afford what we need to consume. We have to change our gear. And we have to move to the concept of being manufacturers. And those things now tie together now with the other aspect of the reasoning, which is about self-reliance. Because this Trump era is forcing black people to really recognize their own self. The same way the women have to realize themselves because of the assault that has been approved by this leader. So black people have to recognize themselves. But you see, the idea of self-reliance now is a whole heap of things. And as I said to them, I had a nice opportunity last Saturday to start a reasoning on the smooth sailing. I hope I didn't create too much disturbance in the smoothness of the sailing, but I saw it go. But I thought a very important thing to think about and to discuss amongst ourselves as a people, the concept of the self. Because we hear about self-reliance, you know. We hear about it. And we think we know what it is. And we also hear about economic independence. No, these things are not necessarily the same. Economic independence and self-reliance. I try to make a distinction now because economic independence don't really exist in the world of economics. What we have in economics is a world of interdependency. Interdependency. That's why we have trade and commerce. It's interdependency. What makes you successful now at that level of economic activity is your depth when it relates now to your self-reliance. And your self-reliance now is based upon your powers to think. So before you can even talk about economic interdependence and economic independence, you have to be psychologically self-reliant. But what does that really mean now? The conversation really revolved around Portland. I know Portland was underdeveloped. I know the people in Portland are so laid back that they allow people who come from far places to simply come into the place and secure reigns of power and do nothing for the people, because obviously them come in here and see the people laid back and they only work for themselves and maybe them party and them family. So the argument was that the people here must become more self-reliant. So self-reliant now is a process. But become self-reliant now, I'm going to say to them now, we have to talk about what is the self. Because if we can talk about being reliant on ourselves if we don't know what the self is. And how do we get to the concept of a self? Because you also hear in songs that you must emancipate yourself from mental slavery, back again to the self. What is the self that we're supposed to be emancipating that must become reliant upon itself? It's psychology. We have to engage in black psychology. And when a man tell the next man, say, boy, him just know himself, what is it? What is he really saying to him? What is it he must know? Or who is it he must know about? So I said to them now, as a little introduction to how to find the self, I'm going to outline what I think is a set of progression that an individual have to make to arrive at the point of being self-reliant. And the first stage of that journey begins when you become self-aware. Awareness. And to be aware of yourself now, you know, is a very tricky thing, because guess what? I will ask them, are you born with a self? Or a self is something where you develop? When I think about that a little bit, you know, are you born with a self, or do you develop a self? I'll ask Cassidy, you know, but I'll ask him when the music I play. So by now you must have a answer to your own self. You're born with a self, or you develop a self. Because Here's the thing now. If we look into a crib or look into an infant, a little baby who just born, and just born meaning 3 months out and 9 months in, so 1 year in existence. Does that infant have a self? What do you think, Cassidy? You think the little baby in the crib have a self? Yeah. All right, so why am I laugh now? You see the thing now is one thing we have to think about now, Part of the process of establishing our power is to liberate ourselves from confusion. It's powers we have, we have powers within, but it's like you have a battery warp. And it could have fire enough power, but it now come out in a synchronized, organized way. So it coming like you don't have it. So hear this now. The infant, I am saying, don't have no self at birth. There is no concept called self at birth. And birth meaning inception, egg and sperm connect, and the journey start. And journey continues for weeks upon months. We call it maximum 32. It can be less. And then we begin to see the connection now with the outer world. Because the being come out now and decide to breathe on its own and cut off umbilical cord and begin to establish individuality and identity. I'm saying there is no concept of self at that stage. I'm saying what exists within that individual is a form of life that is centered around a consciousness. And the consciousness I call me. And consciousness is a force, It's a force that enables, it allows you to do. So I'm saying me exists. And everybody knows that me is the first thing them out of identify them own being, me. But we talk about self now. I'm saying self don't come into being yet. And there's another aspect of being that comes to consciousness, even before self, and I'm going to call it the I. And I was saying to my brethren earlier that there is I and there is me. But still there is no utterance or sight yet of self. So I am saying to them now that self now is something that we create. It's what we call a psychosocial entity. We create this thing called self, and it is founded now upon what we're going to call the name. So when an individual receives a name, I'm saying now that becomes now the foundation for what is going to be called themselves. They are going to begin to respond to that sound. They're going to begin to believe, to build their attitudes and maybe build certain amount of beliefs. But it takes an interaction now, not just between the I and the me, but there must be an environment for there to be a self, a society. Because it is a society now that helps to define and shape this thing now that we call self. So the first stage is really, before we can talk about self being reliant, is the self becoming aware of itself. Self-consciousness. And much of that consciousness is grounded now in the identity which is resting upon race and gender. So you start to see that the identity and the self begin to get attributes, qualities, and the two basic is race and gender. So before we can even talk about people becoming self-reliant, individuals have to become more organized within their own being and realize the forces that work within. Because this same self now, you know, it has to develop a certain amount of what we call esteem, self-esteem, wherein it begins to have value, it begins to attribute value. But these things come now through association and connection in the society. What are you now being taught? What is the history that you are being taught? What is the culture? What is the religion? All of these things now will help to shape and define the level of esteem that will be applied to the self. And so success and failure and certain commentary, all of these things now contribute to self-esteem. And if your self-esteem is low, you know you have a serious problem. And if it is high, it is positive because it motivates to higher levels of actions. So we're talking about self-esteem. And it's a very serious quality to lack. Anybody who lacks self-esteem, you can never talk to them about self-reliance. They're nowhere near that. So if we begin to become aware, and awareness means knowing your genetic history, how you even get to come here in this place and time. So you become aware, you develop your self-esteem, then you have to acquire self-knowledge. Yeah, knowledge, which is what's going to give you power to move and navigate now through the world. And with self-knowledge, you develop self-confidence. And you see, now you can begin to participate now in activities of the world. Because with self-confidence, you know, no different from saying self-assurance, you know, you're sure of yourself. You're confident in what you're doing. Then you can begin to move to the stage of being reliant on your own thinking. It don't mean you don't listen to other people, but you don't have to require help from others to achieve what you have to achieve. So, self-reliance will not come just simply by people having money, because it is a mental state. It's an attitude that comes through certain processes before you can reach a stage when you are self-reliant. When Marcus Garvey was speaking about self-reliance, it frightened all the white man them. It frightened the entire white world. But Ho Chi Minh, an Oriental man, grasped the concept, yeah, and carried with him in a firm place, and it worked. The Orientals recognize the power of establishing their own system of thought. And so even today's world, the Oriental man don't depend on the white man and what he's thinking and how he thinks out his own solutions. The China man is in space on his own. He's building his own space stations on his own. So African people must begin to learn to think on our own. Develop that confidence through our own research and our own reconnection. So when we reach that stage of self-reliance, then we can begin to manifest ourselves differently in the other worlds. We have that demonstration of power, of self in the world of sports. We have demonstrated that over the last 100 years. But only as performers. We need to be able to think how to become owners. Yeah, how to become manufacturers. How to own some of those sporting goods factories. And so that moves me now to the next reasoning. That self-reliant in a place like Jamaica, at the level of economics now, really can manifest itself through agriculture and industry, where the country can become self-reliant at a certain level of its economics because of its manufacturing capacity. And for years, I'm beat it out, say hemp is the solution. This program, The Metamorphosis, it used to be aired on Best FM a number of years ago. And we did an outside broadcast one year in St. Elizabeth. And I had the opportunity to meet Mr. Tufton. He was the Minister of Agriculture at the time, dealing with the Bami and pushing Bami. And I was introduced to him. And first, him said to me, say, yes, we hear you in the Parliament. So I say, really? Him say, yes, I hear you on the HEMP talk. So I say, yes, so what do you say? Him say, give me all the reasons why hemp can't grow. And before the reason finished, his friend who was standing next to us touch him hat and him shirt and him pants and him shoes and say, Ross, I hemp make them thing, you know. And one big laugh, ha 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 ha, let's go have a drink. So I knew from that long time that these men in government knew and know about the power of hemp. Well, you see today, you know, or yesterday, in one of the newspaper, I see where Audley Shaw. Audley Shaw is one of the ministers in the present government. He's now telling the Jamaican people that there's a top motor company in Canada that wants to grow hemp in Jamaica. And he's making a whole heap of noise about this. Because, you see, it's when those guys say it, you know, it makes sense. But I tell you them long time, say hemp is what's going to break the back of poverty for black people, not just in Jamaica, but in African, Caribbean, and Pacific states. That's how global hemp will be as a liberating force. And we can come to that and become more self-reliant in our economics. That when we talk about being interdependent now, nobody can push nothing upon way. Because we are in a position now where we can earn whatever resources we need to get what we need in the country. But we can't be in a position of borrowing and talking about self-reliance. The population can't think self-reliance if they grow up in a culture of borrowing and begging. So we have to change the psyche of the people. We have to make them begin to recognize that, first of all, there is an entity called the self. And each individual have to sit down now and come to grips with themselves, which is separate from me and I. And begin to look into your own being. Because these songs only sing about emancipating yourself and do this to yourself. The self is not visible. Can you see the self? Or do you see me? It's psychology. It's part of the liberation process. Self-reliance comes from being able to think confidently, think clearly, think assuredly. And within that thinking, you know, we apply it to economics, we realize that we have to be manufacturers. We have to think out how to become manufacturers, and the roadmap is clear. Hemp industry, 20,000 products from hemp, manufacturing, change the whole culture, get man industrious. That's how we move towards political power based upon an economic foundation. I know me alone I said this, you know. I this guy I said from the 20s. But maybe now, 100 years later, we're ready.
Bonsoir, Paris! Comment ça va? Okay. Here they are again, the second time around, 360 degrees in a full...
years. I have been there. Can be no trail of tears. Don't get weary, no. Don't get weary, no. Don't get weary, no. Don't get weary, no. Release yourselves from the snares that tie you around. Break off fetters that bind you and you. Chains that keep you down. Over hills and valleys we go, through swamps and waters low, and out of the gutter, Zion bound. Sidewalk, paved with gold, milk and the honey flow. Can be no trail of tears. Oh, so rising higher, higher, there's magic everywhere. The expectation of a nation's like music to the air. We're singing a brand new song, marching to a brand new beat. Down the hillside, through the valleys, filling every street. It's time to rise up, stand and take your place. Rise up, shine like the sun. Rise up, rise up. No matter where you do, you know, say that we can't stop. We stand up and salute down to the yellow, the green, the black. I make them know, say that we want this music. Yeah. The world is for you taking, and giving up is the only crime. Now written on the pages of history, this is your moment, this is your time. Yeah. Now we know it's not an easy road. Another road.
Yeah, here we go, here we go. It's that time again. That time again, and the world is highly excited. It's another 72 hours to go before the war kick off. Literally. And the world is locked in to the spectacle and the drama that will unfold. This is the World Cup. And again, this is the World Cup in the world of FIFA. Because there is also the World Cup in the world of cricket. The ICC have their World Cup. But this cup is bigger than the ICC's cup, because this cup now involves over 200 nations. 200 nations now starting out in a battle to get a trophy. That is all. It's just trophy the man I'm fighting for. While nations invest these hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars in their armies to go and fight for a trophy. Obviously, the trophy is a symbol, and symbols are therefore essential in the world of sport. Symbol may be important in other worlds too. In the world of the military, you have to demonstrate and show your armament to show that you have power. So in this world of football now, we're going to call it FIFA's world. FIFA's world runs independent of national governments. FIFA's world runs independent of national courts. FIFA's world is a world unto itself. I remember in 1990 something when the Christians talk about the world was coming to an end and 2000 and this and that. The world of football were planning the next World Cup, you know. The 1998 World Cup had just finished. And they were working on the 2002 World Cup. The Christian world frightening the people about the world going down. 2000, Jesus going to come again, and a whole heap of things to tell the people them. How they're running up and down all over the planet, themselves, them finances, distressed that the world going to end. People are sell out them things. All in a town up a mountain view, people will lock up and all kind of insanity. And FIFA now pay no attention to the Christian world. FIFA plan same way. So them plan in 2002, there was a World Cup. 2006, them do it again. And they have been doing it from 1930. And they have no interest in the world coming to an end because the world that they know has no end unless they themselves stop participating and playing. So we are now in 2018. And FIFA now has its, I think it's 12 or 14, one of those numbers, World Cup. And with 32 teams starting out, there are 8 groups of 4 teams each, and 2 teams will come from each group to give you the original 16. But I'm going to show you why this World Cup thing is so infectious. When we look at Jamaica today, we are spectators because it's only 32 countries could qualify out of the 200 and odd that started out. FIFA also got wise and took some of the styles that is used in professional sports in America and began to rank football teams nationally. So they created this FIFA ranking system where teams now began to get ranking and they could move up and down the ranking according to how they are performing during the year and so forth and so on. So presently now, the Germans are defending champions. They are ranked number 1. Brazilians who lost the final are number 2. And at number 24 and at number 32 and 31 is Russia and Saudi Arabia. These are the 2 teams that will start the World Cup tournament. The home team, Russia, and Saudi Arabia representing the Asian Confederation. Now, we have to recognize now, first of all, that the World Cup is business. It's FIFA's biggest business. And hear me now, money is the objective. A lot of people will be watching the ball and the court and the pitch and watching players fall and things. But remember, money is the agenda. And this is why we see all these commercials around the play field and the billboards. This is why we see commercial and the players, them uniform, the players become walking billboards. This is the highest level of advertisement and development and expansion. This is where FIFA makes its money to finance its programs for the next 4 years and to give other nations money and to give its money for projects. It's from the World Cup. So, what I mean now to say to the item now is that as we watch this tournament unfold, we have to pay attention to the concept of power, which is really what is being demonstrated at the World Cup. Which team can demonstrate, which nation can demonstrate the greatest amount of power, because it requires organization and strength and, in one word, power. It also demonstrates organization and it shows the world which nation is the best football nation on this planet. Now, I always contend that this World Cup on this planet happens outside the world that the Christians and the Muslims call God's world. This world seems to be unaffected by the Christian world and the Muslim world, the world of sport, because there's no evidence yet of any of those gods influencing the outcome of these games, nor helping to define who wins this particular tournament. And this is a world tournament. This is a world tournament. We're looking at the teams. And the first way to look at the tournament is to recognize how many confederations are there, how many regions FIFA organize the game in. And we have these 6 regions. So I am saying from the outset, because the World Cup always shared between Europe and South America, the winner will come from one of those 2 continents. So automatically I can rule out Asia. I can rule out CONCACAF. I can rule out Oceania. And I can rule out Asia, Africa. But I won't really rule them out because that is my dark horse team. So in a real football technical sense, the champion should come from either Europe or South America. So when you begin to look into the countries now that are of those two continents, the powerhouse right now are the defending champions, Germany. The French team is looking good with a lot of African black men now in the side. The Belgian team is threatening because they too have released the black players. And the Spanish team, coming from a very powerful league, will represent itself well. So those are the four potential European teams to get into the top four. Out of South America, I'd go with the Brazilians and the Argentinians and the Peruvians as the teams that can get into the top four. And out of Africa, I'm on a site up Nigeria and I'm on a site up Senegal. So out of the 8 groups, in the first group A, it is Uruguay, Russia, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia. I think politics will always be a part of international sports. And FIFA now, I am saying now, is putting on this tournament to make money. And one of the ways you make money is to be fortunate enough to have the home team qualify for the second round. And I say fortunate enough because I am of the view that FIFA can interfere with their own activities through their officiating. So in this first group is Russia. And Russia is ranked 31 out of 32 in this tournament. But this World Cup is also Putin's World Cup. There's a chance for Putin to demonstrate that Russia is a real on the rise to become a superpower. And Russia have all their connections in Syria. Russians have been flexing their muscles in that region of trying to establish themselves as a superpower. And this World Cup is a good chance. But in the group, they have Uruguay, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia. Now, I would go with Uruguay to win the group, based upon pedigree. And so the second place battle now is going to be between Russia, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia. I will rule out Saudi Arabia as a first-time side and not really ready yet. So the battle between Russia and Egypt. Egypt has good striking force with Mo Salah, and I think the politics will send Russia through. FIFA will make sure say something go on. So that is that. I would say Uruguay and Russia. Not because of football, but because of politics. In Group B, I'd go along with the Spanish team. The group is Spain, Portugal, Morocco, and Iran. I'd defend the Spanish team to win the group, and I'd go with the African team to come second. So the struggle between Morocco and Portugal and Spain for those 3 positions are giving Spain 1, and Portugal and Morocco will battle for the second place. Group C, give France the go-ahead, and the third place battle will be between Peru, Denmark, and Australia, and I am going to go with the Peruvians. Group D, this is Maradona's, this is Argentina's, this is Messi's last chance to prove that he is of the quality of Pele. So we're going to allow the fortunes to go with Argentina to send him to the second round. The next 3 teams are Nigeria, Croatia, and Iceland. I have to go with the Nigerians. I have high hopes for the Nigerians to get beyond the group of 8. Group E have the Brazilians, the Costa Ricans, Switzerland, and Serbia. The Brazilians should get to the second round comfortably. And I will go with CONCACAF, Costa Rica over Sweden and Serbia. Group F of the defending champions, I will go with Germany. And again, I will go with CONCACAF, Mexico second, over Sweden and Korea. Group H of Belgium, which I think will get to the second group. The next three teams are Mexico, Sweden, and next three teams are Tunisia, Panama, and England. I think England has a better chance than previous times. They have decided to mix in the black youths now. The team is younger. Panama is there for the first time. I think they will be overwhelmed by the occasion. And the Tunisian team is an unknown force. I will give them the edge between them and the English. And the final group, Group H, Colombia looks like the team to come out, and I'm taking Senegal along with them and leaving Japan and Poland. So that will give us the 16 teams. And that's really my projection for this World Cup. The beautiful thing about this tournament is that the African teams will bring out of the tournament things that a lot of black people don't really see often or know of. Because you see Russia is probably one of the most racist of those countries that play football in that region. The Russians, I don't think, call themselves Europeans. But the racism now is so intense in Russia that FIFA has given referees the power to call off games if the chanting will not subside. They are making strong effort in Russia to curb the liquor sales. But you see, culture, because football is culture, they can't buckle it up. And all the isms that we know will surface. And through sports, we're going to see the culture. And we're going to see, I am suggesting to them, we're going to see racism in its most blatant. There's an English player who claims that he has become numb to racism. A lot of ones who are living in racist societies may understand what that means, to be numb to racism. You actually shut down your emotional self, which is a serious condition to put yourself in. I know about being numb to cold weather. You just shut down your feelings and you just don't feel the weather anymore. So I think about what it is now to be numb to racism, just to perform and survive. You know, as a black man, really, really super.
Rally round the red, gold,
I tell you, any day, any World Cup that an African nation win, I tell you, you're going to see a global celebration that has never been seen before. Because you see the football touch over 200 nations worth of people now. And I'm going to show you how it's serious. You see, in Jamaica today now, we have a league called the RSPL, right? And that is we call it our Premier League. We don't have the league where we think we have players that are better that are performing, right? It's our highest league. And what we have going on today, well, and over the weekend and then over the next couple of days, is a little, what they call a playoff tournament taking place as I speak. There are 4 teams in Jamaica now, one from each of our confederations. And we have 4 confederations. And just like we're talking about World Cup football, FIFA have World Confederations, Africa and Asia and so forth. We have our local confederations. There is a Northeast Confederation, which is the parishes of St. Thomas right around to St. Anne's. That's one confederation, the Northeast. There is Western Confederation, which continues the journey from Trelawney right around to Westmoreland. And the journey continues from Westmoreland, from St. Elizabeth, straight up to St. Catherine. And that is called South Central. These are 4 confederations, 4 regions of Jamaica that, from my long time saying, require and demand political autonomy. Just like how FIFA give the confederations around the world autonomy to run its region. I am saying we must begin to think along those lines too. Self-reliance. And so the 4th confederation now is Kingston and St. Andrew. Those 2 parishes. So, out of those 4 confederations now, we have a little playoff going on right now. We have 1 team from each confederation involved in a round-robin tournament. 4 teams, each of them playing one another twice. Home and away. And the 2 teams that come out at the top of that will become members of the Red Stripe Premier League in the country. So as the World Cup is going on about to start now, we have at the most local level a battle going on between teams from our own local regional setup. So in the South Central area, the team that is leading now, that team called Dunbeholden. Them come from St. Catherine. And St. Catherine already have the defending champions of the league in Portmore. And St. Catherine is a stone throw from Kingston, which have about 8 teams in the league already. So I just want to show you a little lean-up business that's going on. So Dunbeholden is in the group of 4. The next team that is contesting is a team from Kingston named Barbican. Kingston and St. Andrew. If those 2 teams go through and qualify, it'll come in like the Premier League have only teams from those 2 areas, Kingston and St. Andrew and St. Catherine. But watch this. From our region, meaning Portland region, St. Thomas, St. Anne's, there's a team called the Academy, St. Anne's Football. And the other team is from Western Jamaica called Wadada. Now, after 3 matches, the Wadada team has not won a game, so they're at the bottom of the table, going fast nowhere. The St. Catherine team is leading the group, followed by the Barbican team from Kingston and St. Andrew. And in 3rd place is the St. Andrew team, is the St. Anne team. Now, I say this to tell you that, why these players and all of these resources are being put in place is that the vision is to get to the Premier League. And once you get to the Premier League as a player, your next vision is to get to the national team. Because even if you don't get to the national team right away, you want to advance your football and you want to get into a top club. But ultimately, no matter what club you go to, each player has a desire to play for his national team. And so the national team is what represents the nation in the qualification rounds for the World Cup. So the connection goes far into every society. It goes to the players, right down to the club level. It goes down to the community. The connection between the football and the people. So when that progression moves from the nation into the elimination round that begins 2 years before the tournament starts, until you finally reach the world of 32, the group of 32, the world is fixated. And the world is looking on now to identify now who is going to be the world champion. Now, let me just say a little bit about why I think I can say what I am saying. Because in Jamaica now, we have an overabundance of not only football coaches now, but analysts. Yes, a lot of people in Jamaica now have turned themselves into analysts. And you see, when it comes to the World Cup time, nearly everybody is an analyst. Well, for the first time, I'm going to begin to make my own analyses of this particular tournament. I mean, I'm here on Monday, so whenever I'm here, it will happen until the tournament is over. When I'm not here, you can go and listen in on Thursday, and every other day after the tournament begins. You come at my Facebook page, Iman Blak. You will hear my commentary and my perspectives as the tournament unfolds. But at the moment now, let me say something now, and this is just about telling you why I feel Iman can say what I'm saying. As far as I'm concerned now, football in Jamaica, consciousness of World Cup started when Jamaica went to the World Cup. That is when most of the population became conscious of the World Cup in its fullness. And that was in 1998. Now, if you look at our population today, age-wise, a youth who born when Simowes come here in 1994, in 2018, that youth in them churches already, you know. Yeah, him in them churches already. So him is a big man in him own self. From 94 to 2018. Him is what? 18 and 6. Him is 24. Now, that youth who is 24, him born, give him 10 years before. So him born 1984. So a youth who born 1986, Maradona World Cup. Him first consciousness of World Cup in Jamaica really would be Reggae Boys. Because when him born 1986, him is 1 year old, him don't know nothing about football. So he becomes conscious of the World Cup in 1994, 1998. And now him is in his 30s. And he is now an authority in the game. And him have experience. And a long time him have watch football. And a lot of our analysts in this age group, let us say between 30 and 40, never even play football. Never play the game. These are now our analysts and our experts. These analysts and experts have spent a lot of time studying statistics and watching videos and commenting on football now based upon statistics and videos. Well, hear me now. From the time I'm involved in football, we never even have no videos yet. From the time I deal with football, video never exists. And I was telling them now. So if a number of years, I've been in this region, in this Northeast Confederation. A number of years meaning 10, 20, 30 years. And I've had my personal input into the local regional football from St. Thomas to St. Mary to St. Anne to Kingston and St. Andrew. But that is in Jamaica. That is my experience in Jamaica. But my experience in football didn't start in Jamaica. Because getting involved in football as a youth is what most Jamaicans do. Sports in general. But I had the experience of leaving this island at an age that I think is essential and critical if you want to improve footballers. Teenager with raw skills and talent, age 13, 14. And I end up in a place called Brooklyn in the US of A. And the first football team I played with in America was a Russian team. Russian, the same country that hosting the World Cup. This team was called the New York Ukrainians. And I was the only black man in my unit as a 13-year-old, but the club had a black player from Ghana. His name was Willie Mfum, M-F-U-M. It's the first time I book up an African baller now, live. This is me now, like a 13-year-old youth, market like a twistle. And Willie Mfum was like a big giant. Big giant. First time ever see a man dive and head ball and shoulders wider than a door. Willie Mfum was a Ghanaian Olympian international player. And he was in the Ukrainian club. So from early, I'm on Sisse football requires size and power. And playing in that Russian team took me around the New York metropolitan area and early exposure now to different cultures of the game. Because the league was called a German-American league. And in that league, I played on Sundays. And we play against the Croatian team. We play against the Polish team. Play against the Greek Americans. Play against all of the ethnic teams that was in Europe. Because what the Europeans did was form them own ethnic teams in America. And this team was based in the Village in Manhattan. So I from that stage early began to see the culture of football and realize the different styles and the different ways people play the game. And begin to develop aspiration now to play professional football. Because those societies show you a trajectory that allow you to make that movement. But the long and short of it, Iman did my dues at the playing level in those places. Community, school, club, college. And had the privilege of being drafted into the professional league. And that took me to meeting the king. Now, there are many people in the world who realize that when it comes to voting about greatest player, there's no question that Pele is the greatest player who has ever played the game. So I having the pleasure of being in a team with the king and training and playing. That is part of my pedigree that allow I to speak. Because from that station, Iman entered coaching school under FIFA to become certified. This is in the middle of the 70s. So when Iman speaking in 2000, it's not something that I pick up since Reggae Boys. It's nothing Simawes come here. Iman into this thing from anciency. But yard is a place wherein is a clique, determined, control. And because I personally don't really belong to a clique, I must speak alone. Metamorphosis.
Hey, Papa, me I talk to you. You may talk to. Me nah this yo, but every year you make Fan Fusion miss yo. It's only $500 for your pre-sold ticket. Wait, Cheapness Radio, listen to me. Take this information quickly, cause with the on the radio. Ticket outlets for Fan Fusion are White Caves Pharmacy, West Street, Port Antonio, Taj Pharmacy, Lovely in Port Antonio, Labe Sports Bar, right in Porty Square, and Universal Electrical and Plumbing Supplies, One Wharf Road, Morant Bay, St. Thomas, entrance to Pressa Plaza. Hi, keep listening, Styles FM. We got some more outlets coming up, and for more information, call 518-2399.
Hey, I saw the thing go. Rastis representing for Clubber Juggling on Styles FM from 1 to 5 p.m. every Wednesday with the Clubber Boss. Turn them. Yeah, high rev juggling, beer hot song, electrifying energy. Steer them. You don't know Clubber them. Raza tak tak. representing.
For complete auto repairs and services, come to Akon Auto Technology, located at 33 Bumble Crescent, Port Antonio, Jamaica. We offer specialist services in wheel alignment and wheel balancing, brake drum and disc rotary servicing, state-of-the-art ultrasonic cleaning and testing of your fuel injectors. We also stock an assorted range of auto service parts, tires, and motorcraft batteries. If we don't have it, we will source it for you. Call us at 876-715-5205 or email AkonAutoTech16@gmail.com. Akon Auto Technology, beyond the typical auto mechanic shop.
Planning a party, club night out, stage show, a gospel concert, or even a business sales event? Let Styles FM be a part of your promoting tool. Take advantage of our low-priced promotion packages with commercials, interviews, giveaways, reviews, and much more. We have special offers when you mix and match and bundle your options. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Styles FM, for the most effective way to exploit your marketing dollar.
Native Audio Stage and Lighting, now offering stage, lighting, and truss systems for your small and medium-sized events. Whether it's a stage show, concert, drama play, wedding, street party, or club setting, you name it, we'll bring it to life. Call us at 871-5212 or 844-6531. Native Audio Stage and Lighting, a sponsor of In the Know of the Law with Sergeant Delrose Green, and also Real Talk with Lady Cleo and Daddy Rude.
Clifford Guest House, sponsor of Metamorphosis on Monday nights from 9 p.m. to 12 midnight with Dr. Iman Blak. Located at 15 Queen Street, Port Antonio, that's Titchfield Hill, they offer accommodations for up to 1 month. Call them at 285-0610 for more information.
I'm way up. 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 Contraband. Is it the master plan? Contraband. It's taking up the farmer's land. Contraband. How it past the border scan. Contraband. I end up in your daughter. Contraband. Now what's in that recipe? Contraband. That giving me distress relief. Contraband. Sell more than rice and peas. Contraband. Feels so damn good to me. Well now this fucking dog sniffing me. Pray to Jah didn't leave a one spliff on me. If they found one they'd surely move swift on me. Family and friends would surely be missing me.
Yeah. That's not what we heard. Yes, it doesn't sound like what you think here. You know, say, when you look at all the vessels, the vehicles that are moving to Jamaica now, you know, it's like a party going on the roads, you know. Flags. All kind of flags now, man, exhibit them preferences now. Argentinian flag and Brazil. I want to do and make them flag then and make money off it. Because it's a good little hustle that, you know. This is what we're talking about, capital. How do we capitalize on events? So we are here now, spectators now. Are we here, you know, defending who will win what, and we're trying to show who's guru and who's expert, and everybody listening to the European commentators and their projections and such and such. But we can look at it a little bit closer now as Jamaicans now. And do we really have visions of becoming part of that party in the near future? And how near is the future before we can begin to have these hopes again? Because realism, you know, is one thing to have a dream, but it's more practical when you have a vision. You know, we have to let go that language that Simowes came with, because that's how they speak. They have dreams. Because the infrastructure is already in that country, you know. So them can't always dream. Them have to back it to make it come real. Here we can't dream upon nothing. You can't dream upon nothing, you know. Because you end up with nothing. What we need here is vision. And with vision now you put methodologies in place. You put structures in place to achieve the vision. When you have a dream, you just have a dream, you know. Yeah, man. So you see the end product in your head. And every day you get up, you can just talk about the end product. It all look nicer and nicer every day. The more you talk about it, the more it look like it's going real. But it's a dream. Without the step-by-step progression to translate that invisible dream to a visible reality, nothing happens. So can we vision Jamaica at World Cup in the near future? And how far down the road is the near future? Well, in terms of football, and to be realistic, the World Cup that will come in 4 years' time, it is unrealistic for Jamaica to be putting in a very serious amount of hope to get a team at that level for 4 years. In 2 years' time, because the qualification begin 2 years after this World Cup ends. So the vision have to be more realistic. So we begin to think about 2 tournaments down the road. So we're at 2026. And because of my perception of the football, I think that is not even the place to go. I think we should be targeting not the World Cups, but the Olympic programs, the Olympics that come in between the World Cups. We should be targeting those to see if we can achieve some medals. And it is the medaling team that will now give us a foundation to build a World Cup squad. So I think it's improper to be jumping over, as usual, trying to get to the end point without going through the middle. The middle ground of international football is the Olympics. Uruguay qualified. Uruguay were the first World Cup winners, but what helped them was that they won the previous 2 Olympic titles in 1924 and 1928. They were Olympic champions. So in the first World Cup rolled out in 1930, them had all the players, them just go through. So is it possible now that we can see Jamaica there in 2022, for example, 2026? It requires identifying players at a certain age group from now. Players who would be matured enough to play senior football in 2026. Now, Portland. How does Portland relate to the World Cup? Only as a spectator. No players. Anybody from Portland ever represent Jamaica in World Cup level? And it's not just a Portland thing, you know. It's a confederation issue. The same question could be asked about St. Thomas, and them not have no answer. And you could ask the St. Mary people the same thing. Them not have the answer. You can ask St. Anne's. So the Jamaica national team now, who we hoping to go to the World Cup, can't have no man from the region now. So we can boost up the man and feel nice, so we can use our ball of that. So regionally, this place is handicapped. The effort now being made by the St. Anne's team is very, very applaudable, highly applauding. The vision that these men in St. Anne's now demonstrating by this academy and bringing in the real framework to teach young boys and give them an occupation and an education at the same time. But what about Portland? What about St. Mary? So, you see, when we talk about World Cup football, I love to say a Portland man on the side. The nearest Portland come to a Portland man was Taylor from down on Hart Hill. Yeah, Taylor, who used to play for Buff Bay. So the region now will have to begin to take a look at itself if it really wants to be part of the whole makeup of the Jamaican scenario. Who controls the Northeast region? How come this confederation going sideways? How come St. Thomas and Portland and St. Mary can't generate no football? When I landed here in the early 80s, this was a region that would produce top-class club players. Yeah, we used to play confederation football, and ultimately it was St. James versus Portland at the finals. And I put enough time into club football into this region. Between St. Mary, Portland, and St. Thomas. Plenty time in club football. When St. George's was Buff Bay. The first time Buff Bay got to the National Premier League, 1986, under my direction, playing and coaching. Into the Premier League. So the region have players lacking leadership. And the strength of Portland now comes when there's a combination between the players in the west and the players central and the players in the east. So we have an issue, because as a lover of the game now, I don't think that the national team should be going into World Cup preparations and every 4 years a team put together. You can't get a player from the Eastern Confederation to be in the program at neither the senior level nor the junior level. All those who call themselves leaders need to take a serious look at themselves and look at the quality of the homes that they have gotten for themselves, and look at the level that football has reached. One has gone down and one has gone up. So we have to wonder whose interests these leaders have when they take up these positions. Yeah, we have to question the leadership of the football in a Portland. And it's not the club only. It's the schools, the factory. That has always been the foundation of sports. What has happened? Where are the sportsmen? Where are the ballers? Everybody can play Scrabble. School challenge can't hold more than 4 people. Yeah, football at the key. World Cup. It's in the air. Can't qualify for D Cup final. Can't get into the Ben Francis Cup final. We are going for the football wrong yourself. Eh? Big ball one time and we produced all the Costa Cup players under my watch at Titchfield School. Ben Francis Cup finals, semi-finals, all the Costa players, all school players. Wagwan. What a guan in a Portland. Football. World Cup is on. Feel the vibes.
Under the pressures of your life and it tough. No stay down, mama, time pick it up. No bother with the down, full style, strictly up, full vibes. Now pick it up when the bills, them, the rent and the mortgage due. Yeah. When me chalice, when your best friends are gone and it's only you. Yeah. Like up a split, turn up the music. Skanking sweet. Everybody wanna feel like free. Forget your troubles and the rock with me. You know feel a reggae music sweet. Yeah, yeah. Skanking sweet. Everybody wanna feel like free. Forget your troubles and the rock with me. You know feel a reggae. Every pain there's a melody, yeah. For every trouble there's a harmony that brings everything together.
So the Jamaican people them now in searching for somebody to attach themselves to. Recognize that there's one Jamaican present in the whole mix in Russia. Yeah, you see, we are powerful people, you know. We're getting at everything. All we need is opportunity because talent is there. And I speak of the England team. England have a youth tonight now who come out of Jamaica at an early age. Because if you don't escape at an early age with football, like you're doomed, you know. Because you pick up all of these negative habits and attitudes and amateur attitude behavior that you can't survive in the cold weather and have the right professionalism to your game. So Raheem Sterling, yes Peter Sterling, yes Peter Mackenzie, are you, why may I say this now? Because Peter Mackenzie I say is his cousin's son. Hey, what I tell you? You see, we are mighty people. And out of all the 32 nations there, and all 23 players in each squad, multiply that, there's a Jamaican there. Yeah, there's a Jamaican there. And the youth now, he was at Liverpool and had the vision of himself playing at a higher level. And although them harassed him and antagonized him about the transfer, made the right move to Manchester City. And that move has also landed him into the English national team. So those places provide for progression. And the racism, England, man, they realize now, so they have to be less racist if they want to have a better team. Because when they go fully racist, the black man don't play and the side don't go nowhere. When they ease the pressure, they let you 1 and 2 black man from Johnny Barnes days and the side sparkle. But racism is a serious force to contend with in Europe. And Raheem Sterling now as a yard youth. You know the youth have a gun tattoo on him foot. You see it? And the English FA try to drop him up, you know. The youth say, look here, this gun is a symbol to remind me because I saw him father dead. I saw him father dead by the gun. And them have a tattoo on him foot to remind themselves, say, oh, nah, make them try that type of life. So we as Jamaicans, when we were there in 1998, the whole world come out and said they was Jamaican. Everybody turned Jamaican. Everybody saw a claim who for auntie, uncle, great-grandfather was a Jamaican. Because it's such a highlight to get to the World Cup. It's a recipe for national unity, you know. The World Cup. Argentina used it while they were fighting and the junta was fighting and war was going on in the country. It's a World Cup that we use to sort of pull the nation together. It has that type of power. We here in Jamaica are not recognizing the power of football. We're trying to use football as a promotional tool where people promote themselves. And businesses promote their own businesses, but they're not promoting football. And it's a cultural activity. And when you see how the rest of the world deal with it now, it becomes a part of their culture. So when we look at how we handle football, and you see it from the lowest levels coming right through, it's just like get up on your own. But companies are beginning to profiteer of these particular sports and games. But there's no reinvestment into the game itself. So there's no new stadium. There's no feeding program for the players. I remember when I just got into the schoolboy soccer in the early 80s and one of those major companies tried to become sponsors. Them said, I'm going to give you 1 pair of shoes for each player. And I asked them, myself and Jackie Bell used to quarrel with them and say, oh, you cannot sponsor a football team with a pair of shoes. Them tell you, we must give thanks for small mercies. And then one company started giving drinks at halftime. Them say they're giving thanks for small mercies. But they're making millions off of those commercial products and how school people use them goods. So football has been exploited much in this country rather than develop for the use and the progression of our athletes and our players. We have a player named Leon Bailey now. Bailey now is valued 20 million, whatever, and is being shuffled on between Bayern Munich and Real Madrid, bidding for this player. This is a Jamaican youth at 20 years old who could not find this level of play staying in Jamaica. Because Jamaica environment does not develop players to play international football. We're still at the dibby level. So we are admiring and looking on from the outside, and we're not doing anything for ourselves on the inside. Football is an industry. And I remember when I used to take in the game from the 60s, I used to hear about Lev Yashin, the greatest goalkeeper who ever keep from coming out of Russia. You hear about Ferenc Puskás from Hungary. And we begin to identify with international players and begin to strive now in Jamaica to be international. So at that point in time, 60s, 70s, no coach never tell no man to go and train. Man go run upon them own. I am living in Harborview, man go up on the airport road and run to the roundabout and back, run to the wreck ship, run the sands. Because the ambition and the desire has always been here in the Jamaicans to reach onto the World Cup. Now the country get there once and the resources dry up and the planning stop. Because there wasn't much planning, it was a blip. Now we must do it seriously. We want to get to the World Cup, we have to have an outstanding Olympic program. We need a strong confederation. And as I am saying to the item, for this Eastern Confederation to get strong, to compete with Kingston and St. Andrew and St. Catherine, St. Thomas and Portland have to unite. Yeah, you have to be one FA. St. Thomas and Portland hold the key to their own survival. This is coming from self-reliant thinking. If Kingston and St. Andrew can unite and be such a powerhouse, St. Thomas and Portland can also unite and become a power in Jamaican football. Metamorphosis.
Now watch no face, beg no more pardon. Enough drugs, money they a cherry garden. Enough individual society applauding. You can ask anybody where them get them starting. But no politician take a donation. So no criminal will never see a station. Never see a cell, not even a courthouse. But every Sunday we see them take a boat out. North Coast Resort and car dealership. The construction company, them just don't legit. Usually wash the money, turn it round and hide it. When the kickback them come in, the government delighted. So police cancel operation. No real
Yes, the eye is on the right track. The self is a social part of Iman Trinity. So the eye is responsible for developing the self. Yes, I.
Then you had the problem what we faced though. Was about to buy your next 16, no. Maybe then I never have to be a prisoner. Maybe then I coulda not turned in my firearm. Police couldn't come remand, come in like me run an army. Was about to be a politician too. Maybe then I coulda make any decision. Look, maybe then I make 100 million disappear. Then me act like me no care. What you brought me back in there. Because this sad reality. In a Jamaica say your status or your salary. Man, the road I carry one whole heap of felony. But them have a family, a boost up the economy. So, police cancel operation. Cause no real bad man a go station. Now if you check his situation, a blood money running nation. Come take a look in a Jamaica. Injustice in the place now. If what you see no really face you, then you what the it's out of many, but one set of people feeling it. How that real society you agree to this. Things are revealed, the garbage, the machine spit. No smoke screen, a river and no conceal it. Now the system failing, the gap gets wider. A matter of time before a total divide, yeah. You cross the line, man, draw quick to remind you. If you build it on crime, then crime will have to find you. And that's how it's been always. That not frustrate you like it do to me. How much dead baby they over Jubilee? How much youths did 10 when them running at Tivoli? Now them 16 hard fry head fricassee. So police cancel operation. Cause no real bad man a go station. Now if you check his situation, a blood money running nation. Come take a look in a Jamaica. Injustice in the place now. If what you see no really face you, then you had the problem what we face too.
So next 30 days, the world is wrapped up in fervor and frantic sounds. But watch it now, you know, there's enough money going to spend, you know. A lot of the bars now are open and the televisions are up and open. So that's tremendous time for economic activity. So all where the screens are, people will gather, drinks go and sell, food go and sell, and it's 1 month of orgy in football. It can be a very good distraction, you know, but you see, it will come to a close. So we hold the balance as we observe, because the other worlds are also moving. The world of economics, world of politics, the world of science, all of these other worlds are also in operation, moving at their own pace and speed. The military world is moving. So the world of sports now, football, FIFA world, will occupy attention of most of the globe. Billions of people will be locked in. Even the local stations are planning to show all of the games, 64 matches, beginning on Thursday with the opening match, host Russia versus Saudi Arabia. And then there's a passionate Brazilian supporters in Jamaica. And the passion hopefully will be fulfilled, because in the reality, the last World Cup was a debacle, was a total, what happened has never happened in the history of the World Cup. Brazilians took 7 goals in the semi-finals and 3 goals in the third and fourth match for 10 goals against. They have to determine to show the world that they have recovered from that debacle. They have to show that they are not as brittle as they were in the previous World Cup. And the force to really topple is and will be the Germans. The Germans are in a position where they can be defeated because it's football. But it will take some serious amount of outstanding defensive work to win this World Cup. The key note is to understand that all of these teams are reasonable to very good in attacking play. Yeah. You have to be at least reasonable to be very good or very good in your attacking play. But to win the tournament, you also have to be excellent now in your defending to balance that excellent in attack. So this is where you see everything exposed. If you are overbalanced in one side, you may lose. So it's a very fine point of being able to find that fine balance between attack and defense. There is a possibility of red cards. There's a possibility of injuries. There is a video assistant referee that will be used for the first time. There will be controversies. But FIFA will be keeping its eye on the money, and they'll be keeping their eye on the crowds. Because FIFA has drawn a strong line against the racists. The hooligans from the Russian side have told the English that they are ready for them. And if they come into Russia with them hooligan behavior, they're going to get it. So these games bring out the tribalism now of the Europeans. The tribalism and the differences, their ethnic differences that have led to many wars amongst themselves. This is not the pretty part of white man culture, no, you know. This is the barbarity of it. It comes out in your games. It comes out in your contact sports. And we're going to say there are a lot of enmity presently between even England and Russia. At the political level, about poisoning, there's a lot of problem with Russia and Crimea. These things will manifest itself when the cultures clash on the play field. So black people, we must cheer our culture. We must be realistic, because any team can win. So it doesn't matter whether you're African and you like the German side, or whether you're a Jamaican and you love Argentina. Your football side is your football side. And people have a right to choose any side they want. But they have a right to also understand the history, the politics, the psychology, and the economics of whatever it is you're watching. And we're going to watch international football. And we're going to watch the world. I'm going to keep an eye on the economics, and keep an eye on the whole evolution of the black struggle. where black man now will be seen representing countries where maybe they're still having issues with immigration. And will a day come when you see a black man represent Russia? Because Russia holding firm. Russia keeping it white. We see where Holland was one of the first countries to start free up black man to play in the national team. They got to 2 finals and they defeated themselves with their own ism. Can Belgium get beyond the achievement of Holland? Because Belgium seem to integrate the black man into the team. We don't know if the tensions will rise and things will boil over. Much to observe into this World Cup. And for Iman, the tournament starts on the 14th. So I'll have a commentary on the 17th, the 20th, 23rd, 26th, 29th, the 2nd, the 5th, the 8th, the 11th, and the 14th. Check me out.